It's just nice.
Aviation is vast. Actually, aviation taps into your normal life as well.
Yeah.
Understanding that tomorrow the situation will never be the same, because as you travel towards the western side of Africa,
You see the
the
different
time
view.
changes.
Yeah.
The sunset and the sunset is no longer at the same time than where you come from. If you can go to China, you can go to Papua New Guinea, to the north of Australia, you understand that they are sitting hours ahead of us. If you are not in aviation, you'll never experience it. If I wasn't in aviation, I wouldn't have known why in summer the sun rises earlier than in winter. So there's so much more that I've learned to understand just by being in aviation. For me, as small as I am, from where I come from and where I think I'm going, the type of people that I've met, just them knowing that I fly helicopters, for me is enough. I don't necessarily need to be respected because being a pilot is not who I am. It's just what I do.
Yo, welcome guys to No Chill Vodcast. Today we're chilling here with Bongaseni Shandu. He's one of the pilots in South Africa. He's been in aviation for over 18 years. So today we'll be chilling with him here, talking everything aviation. So my friend, welcome to No Chill Vodcast. And yeah, man, thanks for this opportunity. And I'd like you to maybe just introduce yourself just a little bit, and then we can just take it from there.
No, thank you. Also, thank you for the opportunity.
Sure.
My name is Bongaseni Shandu. I come from KZN,
Yeah.
in a rural area called Mpangeni. That's where I did my school. I'm a guy that is family orientated.
Yeah.
I love God. Quite a simple guy.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, I'm in aviation, something that doesn't necessarily define me, but at the same time, it's what I do, obviously.
Yeah.
Came into aviation back in 2004, straight from high school.
Yep.
Then I came to Joburg, like most people.
Yeah.
that would come to
Everyone
Joburg.
comes here.
Yeah, exactly. So that's who I am, basically. I fly helicopters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about everything else.
Yes, you mentioned that you're from the rural, and I'm also from the rural. But in the rurals, the aviation industry is something that a lot of us don't even know. We're not even aware about that there is an aviation. We only just know that, okay, I want to become a pilot. But
Yes.
in aviation, there's just a lot. So how did you then become a pilot? From back then, what happened, and what were you exposed to the information about how to become a pilot or aviation as a whole?
Not at all. The answer that I always give, especially to young kids, the answer is anything that is destined by God, it will always come to pass. It's something that you can't necessarily run away from. So at home, where I came from, we didn't have aeroplanes flying around, landing somewhere. I mean, the closest airstrip that we had is Richards Bay Airport. So we didn't have aeroplanes, we didn't have helicopters. However, when you nurture your own dream, sometimes there's things that come into your mind as you're watching TV. Then you get inspired by something. So as a young kid, obviously, I would never tell you what was the lock into it. However, as I grew up, I just knew that I wanted to be in aviation. So hence, the people that I grew up with, they gave me a nickname. That my nickname is Banoi, of which means aeroplane. So I'm guessing from a young age, I used to talk about aeroplanes. Then that's how it came to be. Then after finishing matric, obviously, being from the rural areas, the whole idea, because we're not exposed to aviation
Yes.
and anything else.
Yeah.
The whole idea was to just go to university and do engineering, but unfortunately there were no funds at home
Yeah.
for me to go and study further from my matric.
Mm.
So a friend of mine actually came to me and he gave me the advert because he knew that I wanted to be in the aviation space.
Oh, yeah.
Then I applied, joined in with the South African Civil Aviation Authority back in the day in 2004.
Yeah.
Started as a trainee flight operations inspector, then moved over to aircraft accident investigations.
Yeah.
Within that point, they already knew that I wanted to be a pilot.
Yes.
So I fought my way in
Okay.
up until I got the opportunity.
So you said you started with CAA, but you didn't start as a pilot. You started
No.
as a flight operation inspector.
Yes, sir.
So then you moved your way to helicopter. Was that a way? Was that actually intentional? Like move?
No,
Or it
not
was
at
just
all. Not at all. So how it came about? So they wanted the intention of them recruiting us into the CAA was for the cadet pilot program.
Yeah.
But then, unfortunately, I don't think they had the funds to actually send all of us to flight training.
Oh,
So all three of them then went to engineering department. Then I stayed, me being Zulu, of course.
yeah.
Then I stayed. I said, no, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
So eventually, the general manager at the time finally heard that I didn't want to go to school.
Mm.
So he called me over. We had breakfast. I remember quite clearly, actually. Then he said to me, how come you don't want to go to school? And I was like, no, I didn't come here to go and study mechanical engineering
Yes.
or aeronautical engineering. I want to be a pilot.
Yeah. So you knew what you wanted.
I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's why I always lean to the idea of something that is destined by God, not
Yes.
something that I necessarily wanted for myself.
Yeah. Also, you think this is not what you actually planned to become. It was actually already planned for God. Is that by God?
I think so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how do you explain a rural boy that comes from nowhere, with no opportunities, with no background, with nothing else, with no finances to get into aviation? All of a sudden, here comes an opportunity for you to be an aviator.
Yeah. Would you say you're living your childhood dream?
Yes.
And which is very
100%.
rare for a lot of people to
Yeah.
do that, because
100%.
we get disturbed by the school system. Now
Yes.
they'll tell you have to be a doctor. So for you, it was it about money or it was about passion when you were like, okay, I want to be a pilot, and what developed that passion?
Like I said, it's probably something that I saw somewhere as a young child.
Yeah.
I don't think I was necessarily worried about money
Yes.
then,
Yes.
as much as the provision factor is always there to provide for your mom or your grandmother, whatever
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah.
But I think passion actually drove everything
Yeah.
for me to be a pilot.
You're one of the lucky ones, because a lot of people, they get lost through the school system and they start
Yeah.
doing things because they say their parents told them that. Do you have support from your parents telling you that, okay, you can be this, whatever that you want to be? Or
I wish.
because I mean, a lot of us will get lost there. You know, when our
Yeah.
parents will tell us, okay, this is what you have to do, this is
Yeah.
what you have to do, and then we forget about what we really want to do,
Yeah.
and we follow that
Yeah.
system.
So I was raised by a grandmother,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
where also she didn't understand the education system. That's number
Oh,
one.
yeah. Okay.
She also didn't necessarily force us to go to school.
Oh.
So she wouldn't say, if you don't go to school, I'm gonna beat you up.
Yeah.
No, there was no such thing. The whole idea that she had was, if you don't go to school, it's fine. You're just gonna help me in the house,
Yeah.
either with the garden or doing whatever. So
Yeah.
you didn't have a choice but to go to school.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel privileged in a sense that at home we didn't have money to go to school.
Yeah.
Because if we actually did have money to go to school, I would have probably been lost in the program as well,
Yeah.
with engineering and whatnot. So I don't look at it as a bad thing that we didn't have money. I'm grateful now that I'm older,
Yeah.
that God didn't channel me into that direction,
Oh,
because
yes,
He had
yes.
a
Yeah.
better plan,
Yeah.
of which was aviation.
So there's someone right now in the rurals watching this, and they wanna just, they have a passion,
Yes.
but they don't really know what to do. Obviously, you didn't know what to do, but
Yes.
obviously the universe
Yeah.
channeled you and directed you to the
Yes.
right path, and now you've got the knowledge and the
Yes.
experience. What would you tell that person there watching who wants to become a pilot? What should they do? What steps should they do? Obviously, what in terms of school, because obviously we need to have that,
Yeah.
and up until to the entry level of becoming a pilot.
Well, my first answer would be one, the fact that you are watching this video,
Yeah.
it means that you are technologically inclined.
Yes.
That's one. So most of the answers would come from technology.
Yes.
That's one.
Yes.
Two, I feel that the more you Google things, is the more you know things. In our time, I didn't even know what was Google when I was doing grade 12, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have access to internet.
Yes.
So we had access to books and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now that
Library.
people have smartphones, they've got everything else, but your basics, I would say, especially for someone that is doing grade 5, grade 6, before you get into high school,
Yeah.
channel yourself into physical science, geography, mathematics, obviously your English,
Yes.
that you can't necessarily run away from.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah.
These things, they change.
Yeah. No. Always.
So you channel yourself in towards physical science and maths and geography. That should be the first step. There's avenues now. Like I said, aviation is all over the show now, especially movies.
Yes.
So it's easy to actually get inspired nowadays as opposed to 15 years ago.
So what you said is you need physical sciences, mathematics, geography, and English.
Yeah, I would say those are your
So
basics.
those are those are the subjects that are required, right?
So they are required in the form of you getting into aviation, especially if you're looking for sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
Right? But
Yeah.
anyone else with economics and whatnot, they can still get into aviation
If they're paying for themselves.
if they're paying for themselves. But if you are,
But so the programs or the institution don't really look at the what subject you studied. As long as you have money, they will teach you. Is that what
they'll
you said?
teach you, definitely.
Oh, okay.
You see, aviation, to put it bluntly, you need money to be in aviation.
Okay.
If you don't have money, forget about it.
Yeah.
You can actually forget about the dream of being a pilot if you don't have access to money.
Yeah.
It's either your parents have money or maybe the government can sponsor you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's avenues that you can.
Yes. Now let's talk about those
Go into.
avenues, because I don't think people they have money. Using your own story,
Yes.
obviously you didn't have money.
No,
I
not at
guess.
all.
But here you are, you're a
Yeah.
pilot, so it's possible, right?
It is possible.
So now, what did you do, or what are the sponsorships that you know which you can share with people right now? The ones that are effective now, because I feel like a lot of people they lack knowledge.
Yes.
They're not exposed to information.
Yes.
And even if you Google, you can never be sure that okay, this
What
will
to
work.
type as well.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
which institutions or sponsorships which are currently offering to assist anyone who wants to be part of aviation, specifically on becoming a pilot?
So, one, I'll speak about the first company that I worked for,
Yeah.
because I owe it to them
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
South African Civil Aviation Authority, they offer bursaries for cadet pilots programs,
Yeah. CAA.
a CAA.
Yeah.
However, it's not something that comes every year.
Oh.
So it's either you follow their page and they'll be posting stuff there. They post stuff on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter,
Okay.
right? And also on their website, www.caa.co.za.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Or you can call there from time to time, 011-545-1000. Funny enough, I still remember the number.
Yeah. I mean, you've been there for long enough.
Yeah. So you can knock in that door, and also you've got South African Police Services, of which I owe it to them as well. So they also have some sort of programs
Yeah.
that comes once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
It's something that you'll probably find in their website as well. They're also on Twitter or Instagram. So you'd find it there. And also Tita.
Yeah,
There's a
Tita.
company called Tita.
Yeah, what does Tita stand for?
I mean, I would have to go and Google it myself. But it's,
how do you, is it TETA?
yeah, it's TETA.
Okay.
I think it's transport education something. So it has to do with transport.
Okay.
So they sponsor not just necessarily just aviation only, not just pilots, not just aircraft mechanics, anything that has to do with railway, road, all those guys. Also marine services, I think they are part of that project.
Okay.
And also corporate companies, depending which door you want to knock in.
Yeah.
You know. So those are the only avenues that I'm aware of where you can go and seek help. You know what I mean?
This is only for sponsorship. It's not
For
for
sponsorship
money.
only.
Do you know any for money? Maybe there's someone also who's watching you who got enough cash to actually spend
Yes,
themselves.
you know, there's people that are that are moneyed. out there.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate because sometimes you can't necessarily mention names. But the world is shifting to the right direction, where corporate companies. Let me just make an example. With Discovery. Right. So there's a lot of people that are paying medical aid on Discovery. So they've got a certain revenue that they have each year. Right. And also they're running some sort of a helicopter service with their private clients, which is sometimes under Netcare. So if you go to those type of companies with the idea of getting sponsored, especially because if you look at Netcare, for example, they're owning helicopters that are doing ups and downs, especially in Joburg, Durban, Medivacs. So the fact that they are in that space, you can always knock there. You try your luck. Corporate companies, there's a lot of them. But
so they do have sponsorship, but it's kind of like internal thing.
No, I wouldn't say. I would say I'm actually making an example about Discovery before they start saying, I said.
But most of them they do. You just have to do your own research.
Yeah, you just have to do your own research, especially because most of them, they've got helicopter services. Even the government itself. You don't necessarily have to go to TITA. However, you can still go to the Department of Health. They've got a lot of tenders for helicopter services where you can try and knock there and then see how far you go. So if you are passionate about something, you try and knock in every door the best that you can. So
for how long you've been flying for 18 years?
I've been flying. I started my training in 2007. So you do your maths there. So I would say safely for over 13 years, 14 years. Actively flying. Okay.
Cool. That's you've been flying for the longest time. So I need to know, man. I mean, obviously you worked with so many aviation. Now, I mean, obviously flying falls under aviation, right?
Yes.
And piloting is one of the common name or common job that everyone knows. What are other things that people can do in aviation which you can mention? Because I feel like people only know piloting, and there's just a lot.
Yes. So I would obviously piloting. You can be air traffic controller. You can be an aircraft mechanic.
Yes.
You can be an avionics mechanic.
Yes.
Let me just put it in more simple terms. An avionics engineer.
Yes.
Mechanical engineer, where you can get your AME license, of which is aircraft maintenance engineer license. You can be an aeronautical engineer.
Yes.
Where that has to do with structural design, designing of aircrafts. It can be designing of airports. It has to do with a lot of that. You can be a quality assurance officer. You can be a safety officer. You can be a responsible person on flight operations. You can be a responsible person on mechanics.
It's just a lot, no?
It's a lot.
Because I'm thinking here, there's also engineering. I feel like most of the people, they only focus on the normal engineering, like your civil engineering, your mechanical engineering, and also there's part of engineering in terms of aviation.
Yes.
And I understand that you started as you didn't start as a pilot. So, and after being a flight operation inspector,
Yeah.
you went to aircraft investigation.
Yes.
You were dealing with helicopters, I guess.
Mostly specializing on helicopter accidents.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I would do investigations for aeroplanes,
yeah,
like your normal general aviation aircraft, your Cessna 172s,
Yeah,
182s, your Papa Cherokees. So anything that was falling from the sky would investigate.
yeah. So that's also part of the, it can be part of your career as an investigator. Not to go
Yes.
deep in it,
Yeah.
but what are the requirements? Just if let's say someone wants to be an investigator, is it an internal type of education system when you're already inside, or someone can study it with the external institutions?
You can obviously choose different avenues which are not normally common in South Africa.
Yeah.
I know that Cranfield Aviation offers your basic aircraft accident investigation course.
Mm.
I remember the time also Westline Aviation used to offer similar courses.
Okay.
However, if you want to qualify as an aircraft accident investigator,
Mm.
obviously you need to be in aviation. That's one.
Oh, okay.
You need to have an idea of piloting or engineering or a traffic controller. So normally you find guys that are coming from the Air Force, for example,
Yeah.
that were pilots, engineers, or safety officers. Now they've got an intention on getting into Civil Aviation Authority.
Okay.
But once you get in with those requirements, there's then on-job training
Yeah.
where you can do your basic courses.
Yeah.
Now you can do them in South Africa, or you can do them in America. You can do them in France as well, in Toulouse. So the possibilities are endless.
Okay, no, I see. And you, I also understand that obviously during this process there's some type of qualifications you should get, or licenses.
Yes.
So with regards to the pilot licenses for helicopters specifically,
Yes.
obviously they are different.
Yes.
And maybe if you can just give us the different type of licenses.
licenses.
Yes, and
Okay.
just to unpack it, what type and what does one type of license deal with, and maybe that could be helpful for people to know. You did the helicopter license,
Yes.
which you call, what is it?
So I've got an ATPL license on helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind, maybe let me just make an example with this to make my life easy.
Yeah.
So
Who's the camera? Where should he show this?
So this is your airline transport pilot license in helicopters, of which obviously would look the same for the ones for aeroplanes. So
Yes.
the licenses, they differ. You get an ATPL on helicopters, and you get an ATPL license on aeroplanes as well.
Oh, okay.
So the ranking is the same.
Oh, okay. So are those 4 strips a ranking?
Yeah, so the first one
Yeah.
would be your student pilot license,
Okay.
where you just got into aviation,
Yeah.
right? You just did your basics,
Yeah.
and also you write an exam for this specified type of helicopter or aeroplane that you're going to be flying.
Okay.
Then you have to write an exam, and then you qualify for this one. So you're basically a student on one bar.
Okay.
All right. The second one, you have a private pilot license, helicopters or aeroplanes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to qualify for a private pilot license on aeroplanes, you need about 40 hours to qualify, or flying time. For helicopters, you need about 50 hours of flight time to qualify for a private pilot license. Now, obviously, when people start taking you serious is when you qualify for your private pilot license, where you can literally buy your own helicopter and fly yourself. However, you can't be paid for it.
Yeah.
You can't fly for revenue because you are private.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. It's
Then
for your own use.
It's for your own use.
Yeah.
So you find those guys that have money, that just fly themselves. They get your private pilot license.
Yeah.
Right. Then the third one, you'll be your commercial pilot license, both aeroplanes or helicopters. This is when you can start flying for revenue, to be paid as a pilot. So to qualify for a commercial pilot license, you need about 200 hours of flight time, which can take you just over a year at school,
Yeah.
depending if you are smart
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't that smart at school.
Yeah.
So,
Is it
200
possible
hours.
that you were not smart and you become a pilot?
Well, you have to remain humble at all times.
Okay.
You don't
Yeah.
want to uplift yourself.
Yeah.
So, commercial license, you have to write exams with the Civil Aviation Authority
Mm-hmm.
to qualify for this one,
Yeah.
where you have to write about 8 subjects. So, each one has its own subjects.
Yes.
Private pilot has its own subjects. The commercial pilot license has its own subjects.
Mm.
So, you write 8 subjects on the third one,
Mm.
where your pass mark will be 75%. If you get 74%, you failed. You failed. You have to go and start again.
Eish. And
So it's 8 of
another money again.
It's a money baba.
Mm.
So obviously 200 hours. Then obviously you have to have your night rating and all your basics that comes with it.
Yeah.
Now we can also talk about money and how far it can take you to get there.
Yes.
But I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Then the last one is basically your last license you can get in aviation,
Yeah.
of which is your airline transport pilot license, of which I have.
Yeah. So you have all type of
So
licenses.
it's basically a combination of one license, a white book
Yes.
that you have.
So
But
you
of
can fly
one-
private,
I
commercial,
can fly
anything.
So basically, for your ATPL license, for you to be a captain on the medium helicopter, maybe let's say carrying about 15 passengers, you need to have this license. If you don't have this license, unfortunately, you have to go to the small boys and fly your single turbines and, and whatnot. Obviously, depending with company policies.
Yeah.
But mostly your corporate, your offshore operations, you need to have an ATP license. To qualify for an ATP license, you need 1,500 hours of flight time.
Yeah. So can you just unpack the hours? Like, how does it work? You need to have a helicopter now, climb it, fly for 2 hours, and then you record that.
Then you record on your logbook. So it's called a logbook.
Oh, okay.
All right. It's the same thing as driving a car.
Yeah.
From here to Durban, it takes you about 5 hours. The only difference is that we're gonna record that time. So obviously it's gonna be in the air. So it differs.
Yeah.
You're not gonna necessarily just get 1,500 hours total time that easy.
Yes.
All right. So it takes you years to get to that experience level. Also, flying helicopters is expensive. Okay.
Oh, so it every time
everything.
it's money.
An hour to just fly a squadron helicopter is about 14,000 rands an hour. Just an hour.
But
okay.
but you did that. So through this whole process of attaining these licenses,
Yes.
were you paying for yourself, or obviously you were?
So from here to my commercial level, Civil Aviation Authority is responsible for that together with TITA.
Oh, okay.
So they sponsored me up until 200 hours.
Okay.
All right. And then obviously I worked for the Civil Aviation Authority 3 years after that. Then I resigned and I went to join the South African Police Service.
Yes.
So I joined the police with 220 hours of flight time.
Yeah. Is that the requirement from the police? They don't
necessarily have a requirement. Their requirement to qualify as a captain is 800 hours, which means I joined them as basically as someone that just qualified with 200 hours. Then I had to work my way up into qualifying on squirrels.
Okay.
So from 220 hours, then I had to fly up until 800 hours to qualify as a captain on squirrels to combat crime in the country.
Yeah.
So obviously I wasn't paying for that because remember what I said, from commercial level.
So yeah, now it's a revenue.
It's a revenue. Then you earn a salary if you are flying. Then I worked my way up. So by the time I got my ATP license, I was already out of the police.
Yeah.
I was with now Ultimate Heli.
Yeah.
That's when I worked my way up. So I joined Ultimate Heli with 2,000 hours.
Yeah. So yeah, mentioning the Ultimate Heli, we are here now at the Ultimate Heli.
Yes.
So nice. You said you worked for how long? And obviously they provide charters, private charters.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So can you just give me an example of what happened? So you're a pilot working under them, and you get a call that someone wants to be transported from OR to somewhere.
Yes.
Also, it's based on private. So they provide private charters.
Yes.
And you were one of the pilots who were doing that. So they have their own aeroplanes and stuff. I mean, helicopters.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Cool. Because I mean, it's just so nice, man.
It is quite basic, and also it needs you to know
Yeah.
what you're doing. Okay, so for typically, let's talk local.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
you've got someone that wants to get married next week
Yeah.
in Vanda.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah,
Me,
exactly.
I'm married. I'm getting married.
In
Van.
Toyando,
Yes.
someone wants to get married. Then they give us a call and say they would like a quotation on the helicopter, obviously from where it leaves. Right now we're at the Ultimate Heli
Yeah.
port in Stain City.
Yes.
So you fly from here, you're going to come here with
The madam.
your madam.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you can't see each other at the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
your wife would probably argue that fight in terms of is she flying or are you flying, because you can't be together at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we
let's
can
say-
have two.
Yes, you can have two.
Yeah.
And then she will fly from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if you are flying from the Ultimate Heli port in Stain City,
Yeah.
you're going to fly to Vanda. So we're going to give you a quote, let's say a 5-hour quote to fly from here,
How much?
get to Vanda, and
estimation?
come back.
Do you know?
So, like for example, we've got a Bell 47 helicopter here,
Yeah.
which is about 16,500 500 rands an hour.
15,000.
16,500, excluding 50% VAT, of course.
Yeah. Now we'll
Then-
show them after this.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna see them.
Then you times that by 5. for
because it's
example.
5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you're looking over 65,000 rands, excluding VAT, and include your 15% VAT.
Yeah.
So your 10% of that is what? It's about 6,000.
Yeah.
So you're looking about 9,000 rands. Then
Yeah.
you probably pay about 85,000 rands
Yeah.
to do the whole charter.
Just
to go
for
to a wedding.
transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it differs. You can go anywhere. You can go to Durban. You can go to Cape Town.
So
you
that's
can go-
that service is only provided by the private. So other
Yes.
okay. Now I see.
So there's different obviously avenues. You get your corporate. You've got your local based charters. So Ultimate Heli is a combination of both. Right. You get corporate. You've got private. You've got VIP.
Yeah.
They still have also enforcement. They still have ship operations. They still have a lot of things. I don't want to be promoting them at this point.
But from that point, obviously you worked with SAPS. I'm gonna focus on that
Yes.
because I mean the service for private ones
Yes.
now we just understand how
Yeah.
it works. So with the SAPS, are you the guy who's flying while the police are shooting at the gangs? What are the services like? What do they do when you're flying them?
So with the police service, so the whole idea is to serve and protect,
Yeah.
right? So you're serving the people of this country
Yeah.
with the service. So in the department where I was in the SAPS Air Wing, I was flying helicopters. I would fly with a crew,
Which one exactly?
the squirrel helicopter.
Oh, okay.
So commonly known as an Airbus helicopter H125.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a single turbine helicopter. So if you look at that type of operation, you can do basically anything. You go to work like any other
Yeah.
person, all right?
Like, is it every day?
Every single day.
So you just need an activation if there's something.
Yes. So
Okay.
you're sitting in the office. You come there at 7 in the morning. You've got a briefing. You don't prepare anything.
Yeah.
You're at work, so they can call you on the radio. There's a car chase on the November 1 from Midrand going towards Pretoria. The car was hijacked. Joburg Reaction is calling you to come and assist. You run to the helicopter with your crew. You've got an R5. You are flying the helicopter. Fly to the scene. You do a car chase. That would be one example. Two, there's a 012 Alpha. They call it a 012 Alpha house breaking in progress.
There's a code for this.
There's a code for everything.
Yeah.
In Royal in Centurion,
Yeah.
you are based in Pretoria, for example. The suspects are still in the house. You need to go and assist. You fly there. You can do stock theft.
Yeah.
You can do rhino anti-poaching with the sandparks. You can do search and rescue operations.
Yeah.
For
Medivacs as well.
Medivacs.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea for me, I just don't want to be a pilot only, as much as I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
But I would want to obviously venture into business management in aviation,
Yes.
where I can sort of manage a few operations for myself, seeing that the scope is quite vast in the aviation sector.
Yeah. So when you fly in every sector, do you get an opportunity whereby maybe you can go cross country? Just maybe, let's say for example, if there's someone who wants to go to, let's say, Zimbabwe.
You can fly from here to Cape Town, then you obviously have to make a few stops for fuel.
Yeah.
But if you look at the distance from Joburg to Cape Town, from here to Zimbabwe or Botswana, it's way shorter.
Is it?
It's just that we are thinking cross-border operations as if we are going to the UK, but it's actually just here. It's next door.
Yeah.
For helicopters. So your southern regions, Botswana, Zim, Namibia, you can do those kind of operations.
Where you maybe before have an experience to fly to those other countries?
Yes. So I've had the opportunity of flying from here to Zim, from here to Botswana. I haven't been to Namibia as yet.
Yeah.
But I've been from here to Uganda, from here to Mozambique.
So that was that for private or
Private,
for private?
And mostly others are contracts under Ultimate Haley as well.
Oh, okay.
Where we'd go and service that country doing campaigns or elections. For example, the elections that we did in Zambia.
Yeah.
So we do quite a few things. Not just that, also for medevac operations in South Sudan. So we went as far as just to the north of the equator as well, and all the way south as well.
So would you say the private ones are for people who have like money and stuff like that?
Yeah, but you need to have money in aviation. Otherwise, you might as well forget about it.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's what I said. A typical example on a Bell 47 helicopter is 16,500 an hour.
Yeah.
And with that 1 hour, you can cover 120 miles, right? And you still have to come back, which means you have to pay 120 miles going there, 120 miles coming back.
Yeah.
So that's already just over 25,000 just for 2 hours. Yeah.
Man, you've been flying, and obviously, everything comes with challenges.
Yes.
You know? I mean, you can't just have all the smooth things happening in your life. So,
Yeah.
what would you point out as most challenging things as a pilot? From the beginning when you are a student up until now when you are a fully, knowledgeable pilot who can operate.
Yes.
What are the challenges that you faced from there, and which someone who's maybe who's inspired to become a pilot will also expect? So what are the common challenges that most of the pilots have? Obviously, I'm sure there are many there, but the common ones.
I'll just tell you one common one.
Yeah.
At some point, if you are passionate about aviation, passionate about anything,
Yeah.
at some point you need to separate yourself from your friends with the idea that you need to focus on the goal at hand, to study.
Yeah.
So that's one sacrifice that you need to be aware of. You can't be passionate only.
Yes.
Passionate comes with a lot of sacrifices and time off from your normal things. Typical example, time off from girls. You just need to stay away from them for some time. Partying,
that's hard.
Drinking.
That's hard. No, I mean, I feel like most of us will get disturbed. I
Yes.
mean, and those are the things that don't go anyway, you know.
Yeah, they will always be there.
And we know, but still, they're stealing most of our time. So, staying away from your friends and basically just people that are not in align with what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you are the one that only understands your own goal.
Yes.
So the idea of living your life, with your friends.
Yeah.
Remember, at some point with your friends, you separate.
Yes.
So you find that your friend is timing their lifestyle using you, but when they are away from you, they are grinding in what they are doing. Here you are, you're trying to celebrate being with them, and you haven't planned your life.
Yes.
So the whole idea is to know your own time frame. As much as we are all given the same 24 hours in a day,
Yes.
but you need to separate your sleeping time and your work time and your leisure time,
Yes.
because those times are different. if you don't plan that from a young age, you're not gonna go far. If you want to be honest with yourself as well.
So, what would you say the most challenging things for you? Was it for you to leave your friends and start focusing? Because obviously, detaching yourself from other people who are close to you is also it will look like it's a betrayal. But I mean, you know your stuff, and it could be challenging.
No, of course. You see, one thing that I was lucky with, I was actually fortunate, is the fact that I came from KZN from a young age.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I came to Joburg when I was 18. I didn't know anyone in Joburg.
Yes.
So when it came to focusing on why I was here in Joburg, it was easy for me before I made friends.
Yes.
So the moment you start qualifying and you start becoming something else, you then realize that, okay, I can still be with my friends, but it needs to be calculated.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to cut them off completely.
Yes.
If you can look at the Elon Musk, who says, just disappear from everyone for 6 months.
Yes.
You'll come back a better man.
Yes.
Because you choose your time and you control your time and you invest in what you're doing. So that's why even my friends, my best friend, I probably see him twice or 3 times a year.
Because you're busy.
Because I'm busy.
Yeah, and he's also busy as well.
He's also busy as well. So I always had a saying after I came to Joburg, especially because most of my friends, they're younger than me. Then I've got my best friends, which are older than me. I think it's pretty much normal to have that separation. I used to tell them, the next time we meet, you should be a different person.
Yeah.
Which means somehow you should have elevated yourself and you are now a different being, because I don't keep friends that don't grow. It's just who I am as an individual. And it's not about being Zulu, it's not about being from KZN, it's not about being a pilot. Thing. It's just a personal thing. Yeah. When I see you next time, I would like to see you a better man. Yeah. You know? So that's just who I am as an individual.
Yeah. So operational wise, what are the challenges? Yes, there you're flying. What could happen if you're flying a helicopter and then maybe, I don't know if it happened before, but some sort of in mayday a situation happens, like maybe engine failure. What do you guys have as like an escape way?
So, like any other field, something goes wrong, you go back to basics.
Yes.
I think if you have that idea, you understand what I'm trying to say. So for us, every 6 months, we've got proficiency checks. On my license, every year I need to renew my license. So I need to go and test with a qualified instructor, your DFE, to check if I still fly according to the standard. So every 6 months, I need to go and do emergencies, from your engine cuts, hydraulic failures, or whatever may happen. However, I've faced a situation a couple of times, but at the same time, I didn't have time to say mayday. I had to deal with the problem at that time. I'll give you a typical example. Still flying for the police. We're chasing a Golf 6, a blue one. Just to the west of...
It was hijacked?
It was hijacked. We just took a machine from Vonabom Airport, from Savius. Then they said, no, they're chasing a car, it must come and assist. We went there. The plan was to actually stop on top of the robots and take it down.
With guns?
Yeah. So there I am hovering a helicopter close to the robots, and then the rotor RPM starts pulling down. From 100% to 80%, I can see we are going down.
So you're not standing, like steady?
Nothing. We're now going down. So basically...
You're the one in charge that time?
Yeah, I'm flying. Now I've got like this simulated engine failure that I don't see where it's coming from. So one, you don't have time to say mayday. Hence, you go back to your basics. For me, I just kicked the right pedal, went towards the trees, I tried to recover the engine. Eventually, I was able to recover it.
But you were already seeing a way out.
I was already seeing Jesus at that point. He was like, come here.
Yeah. Damn. So you guys don't have a way of escaping, maybe a parachute or something?
No, unfortunately not. We were not like the fortunate ones, Air Force jets, where they can jettison. Remember the jettison method? You jettison and you go up.
Oh, yeah. And
for us, we can't jettison because the propellers are waiting for you on top of you. If you're flying a helicopter, you can't necessarily jettison down as well.
Cuts you into pieces. Yeah.
So there's something we call an autorotation. Just say, for example, typical example, you're flying straight in level at 500 feet above ground,
Yeah.
and then you have an engine cut.
Yeah.
So obviously there's all these symptoms
Mm.
of an engine failure, like in your car.
Yeah.
Then let's say, for example, the engine just dies. And then you perform something we call an autorotation.
Yeah.
Autorotation is the same thing as you riding your bicycle.
Mm.
You're pedaling, minding your own business, and then the chain comes off. Okay?
And the bicycle just gonna continue.
So the bicycle still continues using forward motion
Yes.
up until it loses a certain type of speed,
Yes.
and then it will have a rolling moment.
Yes.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like when you're riding a bicycle, we'll ride it for 100 Ks. At some point you stop and you're using the motion to rest. So I would say a typical example of an auto rotation is that, because the rotor RPM was already at 100%, then you've got an engine failure. So I just dump my collective, maintain my speed, like in a bicycle. Then you can still control the bicycle because it still has forward motion.
Yeah.
That way I can still also control the helicopter as it's going down.
Yeah.
But you do that every 6 months. You need to make sure that you are still competent in doing that. So
There's risk in
there
everything.
is risk in everything.
So let's look at the personal development, man. I mean, I think you can talk about your career as much as we want, but I feel like the drive is you yourself. You know, you need to have some. I don't know what to call. You have to have your own morals.
Yes.
You know, as a person, to push yourself to a certain point. So,
Yes.
what would you say? In not just only for becoming a pilot, but just becoming something in life. What would you say are the most basic and needed characters in a person to become whatever that they want?
In general,
Yeah.
there's something that you learn at home,
Yeah.
which is indirect discipline that you learn at home. And especially if you grew up in the rural area, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. There's, you know, when your parents says, go and buy sugar at a store,
Yeah.
the idea of just listening and going there
Yeah.
and coming back with the sugar,
Yeah.
it's one form of discipline that you are not necessarily taught directly.
Yeah,
No one is going to send you to school for that.
Yes.
Those are the things that you grow up
Yeah.
with, right? The things that there's things that are self-taught.
Yeah.
However, also there's then discipline that comes from you as an
person.
individual.
Yes.
What is it that you are looking for as an individual? So if I'm passionate about aviation, I need to be disciplined, right? I need to understand the concept of time. Those are the things that will be self-taught.
Yeah.
So I would say, the military environment has different ways of teaching you certain things. But also why it's actually so perfect for black people is because we are disciplined from home.
Yeah.
You are taught respect from home. So when you come to the military environment, there's nothing new that you need to learn except for keeping fit.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that you grow up with as a child. But however, when you want to then develop yourself, you will make your own mistakes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and think, I'm perfect and I've made it. There's a lot of things that I've done where I had to learn from them,
Yeah.
my own mistakes. Then I had to then make some sort of measures in place
Yeah.
to make sure that I don't fall in the same cliff.
Yes.
So I would say time management, discipline, being passionate about what you want, being consistent with what you are trying to achieve, and don't listen to people.
Yeah. that one.
You see the idea of paying attention to what people are saying. It will never get you anywhere. So your social pressures, right? So we always look at now what we define as peer pressure at school. Peer pressure comes with outside forces.
Yeah.
However, if you were an individual and you had to make your own choices, there wouldn't be peer pressure.
Yeah.
So there's qualities that you already have. Sometimes you lose them along the way and you gain them back as you are disciplining yourself.
Yeah.
So I would say your solid foundation. For me, what keeps me is my foundation. So most people will actually think it's a bad thing. For me, I take it as a good thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that I grew up with nothing
Yeah.
makes me understand that should I not push tomorrow, I'll go back to where I come from.
Yeah.
So the foundation at home and looking at my mother and the situation that she's in would always make me wake up in the morning and push on. The fact that I've got kids will make me push on and strive for excellence more because I understand that I'm not necessarily living my own life anymore.
Yes.
There's
There are
people that
who
are
are
dependent on
Yeah.
me. So, yeah, you have to be disciplined.
Because now here, man, I hear your story and I hear the reason why you need to push that way. But there's so many people who are not, they don't have anyone that depend on them, you know, and I personally believe that everyone there, we have different, you know, talents, skills, and passion, and whatever that you want to do is there within us. It's just a matter of us finding. I mean, you find your passion when you were very young. You are lucky. You were not confused by the school system. So even when you were studying, you knew what you wanted to do from there. But there are people who don't know that, man, and now they're stuck with the diplomas, degrees, and they want to start venturing into personal development and finding what they're really passionate about, what they want to do, because this school system is not working for them. How can one start as just, you know, from the basics, you know, to find yourself? I mean, I'm sure you know because you find yourself. Maybe you still remember what you did, or you like you always say that it was God trying to direct you. But at some point, I feel like you have something that you can share, just for someone to develop themselves, to find themselves, and to become whatever that they are meant to become. You know, in that way.
Now that I'm older, I read quite a lot.
Yeah.
I watch videos quite a lot.
Yeah. Like what videos, to be specific?
Like on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's inspiring videos that you'd watch there.
Okay. Yeah.
There's certain statements that are made by people.
Yes.
So there's a statement that I saw from a guy. I don't even remember who it was. He said, "Don't look for something that you are passionate in.
Yeah.
Look for something that you are good at. Because that will create a foundation
to
for
start
yourself to do something that you are passionate about."
Yes.
So sometimes we look for something that you are passionate about that will never lead us to anything. Remember, sometimes you can be passionate about something because it's the only thing you know.
Yes.
Not necessarily because...
So that passion was developed through what you know. Yeah.
If you see your neighbor and she's a nurse, and the next neighbor is a teacher, and the next one is a soccer player, your mindset is stuck between three fields. You create your passion looking at why those people became nurses. That's why in this country you find a lot of nurses, a lot of teachers.
Yes.
Because in the environment where we come from, we're only exposed to those things.
Yes. And
So
then now the passion develops.
then you want to be a nurse, right? You want to be a paramedic. You want to be anything basic. Remember, passion doesn't just come from something. It's not something that you are born with. It's something that grows in you.
Yes.
You like it for some odd reason. You know, your typical example, if you went somewhere and someone had an accident and you saw a paramedic saving someone's life, it could be also inflicted from your own family. The paramedic saved your mom from an accident and you learnt from that. You wanted to be that when you grew up. Or your mom had cancer and no one was able to save your mom when we were young. Then you develop the passion of wanting to be that person that will save other people's lives.
So there's a difference between your skill and passion.
There's a difference.
Yeah. So you're talking about skills.
So I'm talking about both.
Yeah.
So for me, self-confidence, it's something that you develop, obviously, alone.
Yes.
Identifying what you're good at, and also just being yourself.
Yes.
I didn't have to be someone else to be who I am today.
You've been yourself.
I had to just be me. You know, let me just give you a typical example.
Yeah.
You can see I'm short,
Yeah.
I'm big.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe that I'm good looking,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm confident.
Confident. Yeah.
I can go out there and do my thing.
Yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
I wouldn't lose.
Yeah. No.
You know,
True.
so it's everything else. Sometimes it's self-inflicted
Yeah.
more than anything. But I'll tell you, people. There's this artist in America, Jonathan McReynolds.
Yeah.
He's got a song called People.
He's talking about people.
He's just talking about people.
Yeah.
To say God never prepared him with understanding people and how you'd want to fight the battles
Yeah.
when people fight you. So God can give you grace, He can give you mercy, He can give you understanding, He can give you a clear mind. But we are not prepared to fight outside forces.
Do you think it's necessary to get to know people or to get to understand yourself? Which one should people focus on?
Yourself.
So by understanding yourself, will it remove the kindness for people?
Yes. Of course it will. I know maybe I'll be sort of off topic at this point,
Yeah.
of which I don't mind.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Feel free, man. We're educating him, and I mean,
So
we're learning. Yeah.
I look at
Just
different.
push it close to you so
Okay.
that they can hear. They need to hear this.
I look at different actors. Okay,
Yeah, like movie actors.
movie actors.
Yeah.
Let's give Will Smith as a typical example.
Yeah, I mean it's relevant at this point.
I'm not gonna touch base on the recent acts.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Next thing is gonna come and find me, and
yeah, no,
you
you
know,
don't want that.
No, I don't want that.
No.
However, the typical example I want to make is Will Smith is successful.
Yeah,
He's made a lot of great movies
yeah,
that were inspiring,
Yeah.
especially his recent movie that he just made now with the Serena Williams sisters.
yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
and then you look at an actor like Denzel Washington, for example.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of great movies.
Yes.
Successful man,
Yeah.
but there's a difference between these two people.
Mm.
They love each other, and they still visit each other. Oh well, I don't know that, but I think the way I
they're
looked at
close,
it at the Oscars and the advice that Denzel was giving Will Smith is quite relevant.
Mm.
However, Denzel Washington is not on social media. You know,
At all.
at all. It's people that want to be like Denzel, and they'll create an account saying the things that Denzel has said in the past without him.
Yeah, it's not actually.
It's not him
And
posting those
what
things.
what is your point there?
So I'm saying both of these people are successful. However, Will Smith is out there and he exposes himself because his character allows him to be out there and interact with people.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington doesn't see the need of him expressing himself into the public
Yeah.
and saying all these good things. That's why you never hear scandals about him.
Yes.
Hence, he's still successful.
Yeah.
So our foundation and our own driven forces, they are always different.
Yeah.
However, the reason why he remains stronger than Will Smith is because he has chosen to move away from people.
Yes.
You know, you look at Eminem, for example.
Yes.
He will take years before he can release an album.
Mm.
But what scandal have you heard about him?
None.
None.
So you saying sometimes, I mean, if you don't have to, you don't have to be on social media.
You don't have to, in actual fact.
Yeah.
You know,
Unlike us, I mean,
Yeah.
us we have to.
if it's your passion and your job, it's something that you want to do for sure. I fly helicopters. I can't necessarily choose to be off the market with social media because that's where I find my clientele. If I find someone that wants a private jet to Cape Town, they can only find me on social media. Denzel Washington doesn't need to explain himself because he's already created a foundation for himself that will last him generations to come.
Yeah.
So if you type on Google Denzel, the next thing that appears is Washington. And he doesn't have to sit here with you and explain himself
Yeah.
because his works have
Yeah.
spoken for themselves. We are 6 in the country now that has an ATP license.
Is it
Yes.
in the country?
In the whole country, we are 6 black people.
Oh, black people.
Black people.
Okay.
White people, we are people of color before I sound racist.
Yeah.
So you find about just over 220 of them that have an ATP license on helicopters. But when you look at black people, we're only
What
6.
do you think is like that, though? Do you
It's
think
money, exposure. So right now, as we are sitting here, we are fixing that problem.
Yes.
However, we can't fix it ourselves.
Yeah.
Which means we still need the government, we still need corporate companies to come into the picture and saying, here's 100 million, make it work. Actually, I challenge them to do that. And
So if there's that gap, and I'm sure the government is aware.
they are aware of it. Yes.
So uh, what channels are they doing something about it or nothing?
I think they are.
It's just that people are not aware.
They are not aware. Also, at the same time, to train one helicopter pilot to commercial level, you need 1.3 million, 1.4 million. One person. The government can do so much. I mean, I'm the product of the government.
Yeah.
Even the people that you see that are coming from the Air Force, they're the product of the government. So that's why if we have to get into politics in this topic, I don't believe in BE, because BE started a long time ago.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's just that now they've given it a different name. But to be honest with you, anyone that was trained by the military, they came from backgrounds where they couldn't afford it themselves. So now that the government is doing it in the public platform, is labeled as BE, of which I think is wrong.
I think even if there is what the government is trying to do to achieve or to help, I just feel like there's less message going out.
Of course. I mean, I only also found out about Twitter years ago. You just found out about Twitter today. That's because also they don't market themselves. Now, it sort of makes sense why they don't market themselves, because how many millions of people will be approaching them?
But who are those people who apply? The ones who find out? Is that those that like?
I guess so. I mean, think about it. If you do not know the Civil Aviation Authority that they offer bursaries to students from time to time, who will know? Someone that is technologically inclined or socially inclined, those are the people that would have the access.
Because I feel like we should get ads like this on TV, unlike having ads which shows us to buy things that we cannot even afford.
Yeah,
you know.
Of course.
I just feel like government should do something in terms of, promoting all these opportunities that are out there. Yes, million people can apply, but obviously you're not going to take all of them.
Yeah.
The ones that are passionate enough. I feel like there are people in the rurals right now.
Yeah.
They don't know these things. Even to access the internet, it's so hard for them to do it.
You know what's the sad part? You'd find that DSTV has most clients than any other business enterprise. All right? If you go to Alex now and you look at how many DSTV decoders you've got in shacks, so people are aware of what is happening out there.
But I'm actually using an example. Me, I started using a cell phone when I come to Johannesburg. And I mean, it could be someone there where I come from. It's normal there. Having a phone is not a thing. But TV we do have.
Yes.
You understand?
So if man, I don't want to sound horrible and to make typical examples of people that are doing something which is unnecessary. But let me just give an example. And I quote myself as an example, okay? Yeah. We are Jola 99, right? So big on 157. They are just attacking people who are jollying and doing this, and people get beaten, and they get so many views. Okay, that's one. Which means the very same channel can open up a channel for career awareness, where we can speak about things like this, and people can watch. Okay, to talk about these things on a public platform, but they always want to see something which is relevant. If you ask someone what Will Smith did last week, chances are everyone will tell you. But I can go and post something on Twitter about career awareness. You never even have one retweet.
What is it? I feel like it's a lot of people love to be entertained more than to be educated or to learn.
That's true.
They don't love being taught.
Yeah.
They just love to be entertained, and it's something that is. It goes with personal. I mean, we can try so much, but if you don't want to watch, if you want to prefer to watch Jola 99 instead of career awareness, you choose to go there.
But at least
at the end,
give people a choice.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I want to mention: people are quick to destroy, but they're not too quick to build. Let me just give you a typical example. Uh, when people were burning malls, okay,
yes,
they were quick to destroy and steal. But when it comes to the opportunity of building back, how many people are you going to find?
yes.
So sometimes it's a mindset. Certain few people would choose that life. Other people would choose that I'm not going to go and steal computers where my school goes to. But a different father will still go there and say, no, the government will supply more. So sometimes it's actually the mindset. It's a mindset of choice as well.
It's deep.
So it doesn't matter what you do,
But
but at least what you can do is to give out the information to
Yeah.
people, give them the platform where they can knock the doors
yeah,
and try and better
platforms like
themselves.
this, because this aim to educate. We get people like you who's been in the industry, and just share the insights so that someone who's inspiring to become a pilot or to become whatever that they want to be, we
Yeah.
give them that platform to know, say, okay, it's possible. You coming from the rural areas, you say
Yeah.
Mpangen,
And banging.
Mpangen, deep down in the rurals, and you're out here chilling at Stain City,
Yeah.
it's possible, man. It's possible. You just need to know the right people and the right information. And you mentioned that friends sometimes can delay you. Sometimes they can actually just kill your dreams.
And some also, they can still build you.
Yes.
Some they can elevate you.
Yeah.
It's like we're going back to the matter of choice.
Yeah.
Depends how you choose those friends. Me and you can go out now and go to a Yebieb, right?
Buy bottles
and buy bottles there and have a good time. There's nothing wrong with having a good time.
There's nothing wrong.
But you as a good friend will say, hey, remember your kids are going to school in the morning, so we need to make it quick.
Yes.
The other friend will say, we're going to party until they close.
Yeah.
You are doing one thing, but a different choice.
And you still have to choose. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
No, man, this has been so great, and I hope people who are watching, they've been so. I'm sure you guys learned. The aim here was to just give those insight with regards to aviation. There's so much to talk about aviation. Obviously, we'll need
Yeah.
part two.
Yes.
Part two, because
Yes.
now we can talk about, because one question that I want to close this whole thing with is, why did you prefer helicopter instead of aeroplane? Because flying is flying, and if you're passionate about flying, you could fly anything.
Now that I'm older,
Yeah.
I'll definitely give you a mature answer.
Yeah.
I like something that I can control, knowing that 100% of the time I'm in control, as opposed to flying an Airbus A380, where after 300 feet you press an autopilot and it sort of navigates itself to London.
So you prefer a manual motorbike than a scooter?
Of course. So I always want to
Yeah.
feel in control. And also, once you have tasted it,
Yeah.
you tend to understand where I'm coming from. The idea of getting airborne, hovering the helicopter, knowing you're in control, moving forward and making turns and descending and landing in the valleys and landing close to
Yeah.
waterfalls, landing in between power lines, landing on the ship.
Yeah.
It's something that someone that is flying aeroplanes will never experience.
Damn. Nah, now I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm into aviation, just that I don't want to disclose which sector. I know all these things that you're talking about, fortunate enough. But when I started, I didn't even know what was happening, to be honest. I had to learn about aircraft names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And 7 years later, I'm still an aviator, even still now. But to be honest, I never knew about aviation. I used to call an aircraft a flying machine. That's us at home, flying machine. But I want you to just emphasize this industry, if I'll choose another word, promote it in a way that someone who never thought about it could now feel.
That is easy, Baba.
Yeah, it will be easy for you because you are into it and you are passionate about it. So just to promote it and mentioning all the advantages, like you mentioned now, being in control of a machine, flying, knowing that this is you and stuff like it's one of it. But what are other more stuff? It's stressful, of course. Aviation as a whole is a stressful industry, I'll tell you. But you would deal with people's lives, majority. Even if you are, flying someone, you are responsible for that person's life.
Yes,
of
course.
So you don't want to have any accident. So there's some bad stuff, but I want you to mention the good ones. Money as well. People need to know that to inspire. Why are we leaving that out?
Can I just start here?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for aviation, I wouldn't have left this country.
Yeah.
To go and explore a different country.
Yeah. So in terms of traveling.
Yeah. That's just one point. If it wasn't for aviation, I wouldn't have seen Antarctica as a black person.
Yes.
I wouldn't have known that there's different islands out there.
Yes, the views.
I wouldn't have known that there's different tribes and different type of Nguni people that you find in Kenya.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that. My passport wouldn't have been stamped by the South African government if I didn't go to Mozambique. I wouldn't have known that the shores of Mozambique, they are much more blue than our shores in SA.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for aviation, I wouldn't be exposed to the South Sudanese people and their humility.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen Cape Town and seen the Table Mountain and been to PE and different hotels and lodges. If it wasn't for aviation, I wouldn't have mingled with people like you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't have mingled with actors and actresses of this country and singers, politicians of this country. I wouldn't have been close to a president before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have flown in the Nelson Mandela funeral if it wasn't for aviation. Right?
So it gives you so much exposure,
There's
experiences.
just so much more. The view that you see out there, the way you see Alex is a different type of Alex that I've seen, that you've never seen before. Right? The type of Soweto that you know, driving through the harms and potholes, it's not the same Soweto that I've seen, and the cooling towers and different sections, and how Deep Kloof looks like, how Pimville looks like, how Protea Glen is so separated from the from the N12 and towards the west of Soweto.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of waterfalls in this country that no one has ever seen.
Unless you're a pilot.
If it wasn't for aviation, I'll probably be in KZN there, chilling in the corner, asking for 2 rands.
That's very inspiring because you're talking experiences, man, and that's part of we need to have experience as people. We can't just live and die on the same place that we were born in, and that's part of life, living. So you're living life in a way.
you see when people say time changes everything.
Yeah,
I'm able to define the change.
Yeah,
with aviation. All right, I know if I leave Joburg and go to Durban, I might get there and it's raining. Something that someone will never have experienced within the 2 hours. Okay.
It's just nice.
Aviation is vast. Actually, aviation taps into your normal life as well.
Yeah.
Understanding that tomorrow the situation will never be the same, because as you travel towards the western side of Africa,
you see the
time changes.
Yeah.
The sunset and the sunset is no longer at the same time than where you come from. If you can go to China, you can go to Papua New Guinea, to the north of Australia, you understand that they are sitting hours ahead of us. If you're not in aviation, you'll never experience it. If I wasn't in aviation, I wouldn't have known why in summer the sun rises earlier than in winter. So there's so much more that I've learned to understand just by being in aviation.